Hello, it is June 17th, 2026, and this is your morning briefing from Micah Watch. I'm Bobby Jones, and here is the latest and greatest from the Middle East and how it probably will apply to you in the long run. So, various reports are saying that there is still drone activity that is taking place over the Strait of Hormuz, despite a memorandum of understanding being reached. Now, again, we have not seen the actual text of this memorandum. And on top of that, not just drone activity, but U.S. military aircraft are also still circling the area. I've talked about this before, but the more that you put military platforms in any space, let alone a confined, constricted space like the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf, you're asking for miscalculation. Even if both sides agree that, hey, we want to have a ceasefire, a cessation of activity, you don't know how the people actually standing the watch will react to any type of movement. And so here we are, CNN reporting these drone activities. You have people monitoring maritime traffic and seeing if the strait is indeed starting to open up. And at the same time, no one in the United States has been privy to the actual details and text of this MOU. Now, the reason I bring that up is because the head of the CIA, Director Ratcliffe, has apparently warned President Trump not to trust the deal. This is coming from Axios and other sources who say he has gone out of his way to basically say, we don't know how valid this is. We don't know if it's a typical stall tactic, whatever. I think this is very legitimate as far as concerns, based on the fact that Iran realizes they're negotiating with the United States and they have not acted in good faith. Iran is basically saying, why should they continue to act on good faith, especially when there are no real assurances from Israel that they will stop the attacks in Lebanon and Syria. Now, to refresh everyone's memory, Israel is currently occupying Gaza, Syria, and portions of Lebanon, and they have gone on record since this MOU has been announced saying they are not conceding any of that territory. It's a big deal because Iran wants exactly that. So to see how this plays out over the length of this 60-day ceasefire, which is supposed to lead to a more permanent arrangement between the nations, is going to be very interesting. I don't know who can say, I mean, with being completely honest, who can say that they are truly being faithful in their intention for an actual peace? Iran feels violated multiple times. They now have their version of a nuclear deterrent with the Strait of Hormuz being closed or opened on their whim. And the United States feels as though, hey, this has been 47 years in the making. Be that as it may, the military um, the military victories the United States has had has overwhelmingly been overshadowed by a strategic loss of epic proportion. As the details of this MOU has began to be leaked on right-wing media, there is a genuine outrage ranging from not finishing the job with Israel to what the heck did we do all this for? Because the consensus is no matter what, JD Vance had to deal with it on The View. President Trump has had to deal with it at the G7. No matter what, this is a worse deal than the JCPOA that President Obama was able to negotiate. Whether you're talking about inspectors, whether you're talking about financially, the couple of $1 billion that Obama unfroze of Iranian assets compared to the $324 billion that Iran basically wants to rebuild this country from the United States and the other Arab nations that host American forces. This is significant. It's significant where you see the loss in strategic placement, strategic cachet, and really just overall military and international prestige, all gone by a war of choice. So there you have it. Um, I think the next week is vital, vital, because it's going to take a few days, even, with the best intentions to ramp down, the military actions, etc. But what happens when we get to Saturday and Sunday and these things are still happening? Um, the biggest issue the United States has is a lack of credibility, and therefore nobody seems to respect America right now on the international stage. That's quite the diplomatic problem to have, especially when your lead negotiators, your lead point people for this, JD Vance, Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, a golfing buddy of the president, and the son in law of the president, Jared Kushner, have zero experience in dealing with such complexities.